Well, it's that time of year to get the house all ready for the holidays. I'm going to have to ask my daughters to help me this year, now that my darling Linda has passed away. I can remember last year, though, the way she got the house cleaned up. Oh, it was slick, I tell you. It went kind of like this. There was a crispness in the air, and the feeling you get when the hair raises up on the back of your neck and you walk into Walmart and hear Christmas music for the first time. That's usually around Halloween. I'd come home from work. I was exhausted from a hard day, and I wanted to sit down in my comfy easy chair, die for a few hours before I went to bed and started the whole thing over the next morning. Well, my Linda was always fine with that, but that day, I knew the holiday cleaning had come, because just before I sat down, she said, "Honey, could you do me one little favor before you sit down?" I knew then my comfy chair and my dragging butt were not destined to meet for a very long time. "Of course," I said, and so it began, like a ping-pong ball being tossed down a flight of stairs. First, the bounces are small, but the further you go, the bigger they get until the ping-pong ball crashes down at the bottom of the stairs. "Well," she said, "would you get me a glass of ice and soda?" "Yes, dear, I'd be happy to." "And while you're there, would you wipe the glass off so it's not wet? I'd hate for it to slip out of my hand. There's a rag I use on the counter." "Well, yes, dear." "And when you're done, would you take the rag and put it in the bathroom laundry basket for me?" I'd wipe her glass off, and I set it down on the counter. And I answered, "Yes, dear." And I headed to dispose of the rag in the bathroom laundry. Just as I got there, she said, "Is the laundry basket full?" "Not quite," I said, trying to stop the oncoming avalanche. "Well, since you're right there, would you put it downstairs next to the washer so I won't have to move it later?" "Of course, dear," I said as I picked up the half-full laundry basket to carry it downstairs and put it by the washing machine. Once I got there, I heard her say, "Did you empty it? Did you sort it out and put it in the bins?" "Yes, dear." "Well, is there enough for you to start a load?" "I bet there would be if you grabbed the laundry from the back of the house." With a sigh, I answered, "Sure." Then I walked back to the opposite end of the house and I gathered the rest of the laundry from the back bathroom and the bedroom. And as I reached the bedroom, I heard her say, "Oh, don't forget to get the dusting rag I left on the nightstand. You know, I don't think I finished dusting in there. Would you be a dear and do me a tiny favor and finish dusting the bedroom while you're back there?" "But of course, my love." Half an hour later, I walked back into the living room after dusting the bedroom, the back bathroom, the guest room, and the game room. I walked into the living room and she said, "Oh, I bet the back of the house just looks great. Do you think the living room looks okay?" Without a word, I set down the laundry basket and I began dusting the living room, not wanting to be asked and giving in to the inevitable. As if on cue, knowing the very moment I had finished the dusting, my Linda said, "You know, I bet if you vacuumed the carpet, there wouldn't be as much dust to get back on the furniture you just cleaned. I tell you what, I've got to go potty. It would be the perfect time for you to get those dirty clothes out of the living room, put them downstairs by the washing room, start a load of laundry, come back, pull all the furniture out from the sides of the wall, and vacuum behind it, then put it back in place right before I'm back." Well, I don't have anything else to do. I'll do that right now, my love, I answered.
If you're sure. I don't want to be a bother, but it would be wonderful.
At that point, my wife stood, didn't wait for another answer, walked off, went into the bathroom and locked the door. Now, I've always wondered why my wife would go into our own bathroom while nobody else was around but me and lock the door. Was she afraid I'd peek? I mean, after 38 years of marriage and 6 wonderful children, I wonder if she thinks she was hiding from me. Anyway, just as I had put the last piece of furniture back in place, my Linda opened up the door, walked into the living room, and sat down.
Be a love and empty the vacuum cleaner so it's nice and clean next time I have to use it.
But of course, as I emptied the vacuum in the kitchen, I heard a forced cough coming from the living room.
Honey, that spread a lot of dust around when you emptied that. There's a rag on the sink. Would you please wipe the dust off the counters? In fact, if you don't mind, there's a bottle of cleaner and sanitizer, and you could just go ahead and clean the counters off and sanitize them, and then it'll be all done.
No longer having the will or desire to fight back, I got busy cleaning off all the counters in the kitchen and everything that wasn't tied down.
I think tomorrow's trash day. Since you're right there in the kitchen, would you take a minute to empty the trash?
Well, I thought I had her on this one. Then I said something stupid like, honey, I emptied the trash this morning before I went to work. Trash can's almost empty.
Great, she
answered.
You're wonderful.
Just as I thought I had one over on her, she added,
That means there's plenty of room to empty the waste cans from the rest of the house before you take it outside.
Well, 15 minutes later, with all the trash cans around the house emptied, I headed for the front door. Smiling as I opened the door, I knew she couldn't hear me and I couldn't hear her from outside, and there was going to be a little bit of respite. With a sigh of defeat, just as my foot hit that welcome mat, I heard her say,
Honey, do you see that lawn out there? Well, the grandkids were supposed to come over and mow it, but I guess they got too busy. You know, if you took just a few minutes, I'll bet you could mow the lawn and the sides and the back, and then gather up all the clippings in those black garbage bags and put them by the street for the trash man in the morning.
Well, what else could I do? I gave in, and I agreed. Another hour and a half later, with the front yards and the side yards and the backyards all being mowed, the grass being clipped up into bags and put on the street, I walked back into the house. The sun was setting, so I figured there was nothing else you could make me do outside.
Honey, you're all covered with grass. Why don't you change your clothes when you put them downstairs, you could change out the laundry.
Well, with little or no will left, I agreed. Soon I returned and headed for my chair. As I walked through the kitchen, several hours later, I saw my wife's glass sitting there on the counter. I'd never got it to her, so I emptied it out because the ice was all melted by now and made her a fresh soda. As I walked into the living room, I handed it to my loving wife.
Thank you, my love. That was so thoughtful of you to fix me a drink. Where have you been? I've hardly seen you all evening since you got home. You poor dear, you look exhausted. They work you too hard at work, and you have to go back tomorrow. It's already an hour past your bedtime. Why don't you give me a kiss and head off to bed? Really, I don't know why you insist on staying up so late when you have to go to work the next morning. Nighty-night, dear. Give me a kiss and head off to bed.
Well, I slowly dragged my aching butt up to my wife, and I gave her a kiss, expecting to go to bed. As I turned, I heard her say, with a chill that ran down my spine,
On your way to bed, do you think you could be a dear? Take a minute and walk out to the garage and get me the Christmas decorations before the entire holiday slips by unnoticed.